take a look. The Lugia list. Oh, it has a Drapion. Okay, you don't see that all the time. Got the Drapion. That could be a difference maker. One of the things in this matchup with the Meloetta build is like you can sometimes use Stoutland to KO a Meloetta for 2 prize cards if they go like back-to-back Meloettas. Because the interesting thing about this matchup is like one of the things that Lugia can do against Mew is kind of force them out of their 2/2/2 prize trade pretty easily, to be honest. Like it's pretty easy for Lugia to force Mew out of the 2/2/2 prize trade. By, you know, just not benching more 2 prizes. You have such powerful 1 prize attackers with like the Zard, the Yveltal, sometimes Raikou. There's the Drapion in here as well, like I mentioned. Charon's Care, Canceling Cologne, Big Charm. They got actually, there's a lot of things in here. 10, only 15 energy. They have to be cutting something somewhere. Yeah. But one thing cute that the Meloetta build can kind of do is you can go like back-to-back Meloettas. And if they KO back-to-back Meloettas, then they've only drawn 2 prize cards, which means they still need to take 2 more knockouts to win the game. Sometimes in the Mew matchup, the Lugia player only needs to take 2 knockouts to win. Just 2 Mew VMAXs. But with the Meloetta build, you can force your opponent to potentially take 4 knockouts. And the Meloettas kind of help you navigate that single prize trade a little bit better. Because if your opponent's like, all right, I'm going to attack with a Yveltal to KO your Mew, you're like, okay, I'm going to attack with a Meloetta to KO your Yveltal. I'm not going to put another 3 prize Pokemon on my active or something like that. Or when you attack with a Meloetta, it's not really a good target for a Yveltal. But there's like other stuff that you can do. Like I said, you can use Stoutland for 2 prize cards on a Meloetta. You can attack with Guru with like 1 powerful. You can KO Meloetta with Luminion as well. I almost feel like the biggest advantage the Meloetta build has against Lugia is when you go second, you can like turn 1 KO a 2 prize Pokemon and really put the pressure on really aggressively that way. And this is like a catcher build as well. So like you can, you know, gust up there, only Lugia in play or something like that. So you have that as like an option. But yeah. All right, give me 1 second, chat. I have to try and turn on Lorelei's light from my phone because it's here. Okay, it's on. You want to adjust any of the other things on it? Or? All right, let's get into it. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah, but in this one, the Mew player is going first, which means like it almost feels like it's weird because like if you go second as the Meloetta Mew player, it's gonna be a little bit harder for the Lugia player to get 2 Lugias in play. But if the Lugia player goes second, it's a little bit more reasonable for the Lugia player to get 2 Lugias in play because they get to play a draw supporter alongside, you know, their opening hand and everything. So it almost feels like there's a potential for an advantage when you go second in the matchup as the Meloetta Mew, to be honest. But you don't want to, I don't think you ever want to choose to go second. It just feels that way. And they actually crammed away a tablet there. I'm curious to know what their hand is that they would cram away a tablet. Tablets are so good. Like, you still want to be able to reach for 1-hit KOs on Lugias. So that's like an interesting choice there. I'm curious to know what the rest of the hand is. There was a tablet. I feel like they didn't need... They could have drawn... I feel like they could have drawn with Genesect first. And not crammed the... I'm not a huge fan of the cram on that tablet, to be honest. I think they could have drawn with Genesect first and maybe tried to find a cram on something else. And draw with Genesect once and then just pass. So apparently the rest of the cards weren't very good. I'm curious to know what they are, though, of course. All right. Over to our Lugia player. I'm not going to try and pronounce their name throughout the rest of this game, so we're just going to call him the Lugia player. Over to our Lugia player. See what they got. Chops. V-Guard. The Quick Ball. Some gold card at the end of the hand. I mean, it'll be, if it's a supporter, they won't get Luminion here probably. If it's not a supporter, it looks like it is a supporter. Oh, no, we got another. Oh, it is a Serena. It is a Serena, actually. Second Quick Ball happening here. So they could just grab second Lugia here and then play the Serena, which is probably what they should do here, to be honest. Just Quick Ball here, grab second Lugia, and then go ahead and play the Serena to draw some cards. They actually did prize one of the powerful energies, so they actually can't knock out. Oh, no, they still can, actually. I take it back. They can still knock out. V-Guard to the active. That's not a great V-Guard placement. You really want it on your V-Star, but I guess it would still burn some count of tablets to get the KO on the active, to be honest. So it's not that big of a deal, I guess. Yeah, even the Meloetta will need like a choice belt or a tablet to get the knockout. And we should see it read the wind here to end the turn. So I think still a pretty strong turn here for Lugia. All right, over to Brent. I mean, there's basically one thing to do this turn. Is just, I think, knock out with Meloetta on the active Lugia V. There's the Sparkle before drawing with Genesect, though. So maybe they have a Fusion Energy in hand. I don't love that choice if there's not a Fusion Energy in hand. Also, they didn't choose to bench. Oh, they did prize a Meloetta, actually. I take it back. I was going to point out that they didn't bench 2 Meloettas to try and set up 2 1-prizers, but they couldn't have done that because they did prize. They did have the Fusion in hand, and there's the tablet. So they already have the knockout on this first Lugia. And because Brent did go first, I guess the one thing that does happen is if you do go first, as Brent here, you do hit through. Wait, did they just play Cram and not flip? Am I trolling? No, they played an Ultra Ball. You do force your opponent to put 2 Lugia Vs in play, because otherwise you could threaten to knock out the lone Lugia V and then just win the game. So that is like one of the... I guess that is like, you do force a second Lugia V in play pretty much every time. VVAX, first Genesect draw. I mean, there's not much more they could get this turn, to be honest. So, also, there's no hand disruption in this build. There's no disruption at all in this build from Brent. It's just 2 Lost Cities. They play a Silene, but yeah, 0 disruption. No Marnie, no Judge, no Roxanne. Literally just not quite all gas, but pretty much all gas. I've definitely seen some gassier Mew lists before, but this one is pretty gassy. Okay. Now, I do think Brent, after this knockout here from... After this knockout on the Meloetta, I think Brent is going to struggle to get the return knockout, to be honest. We got a Marnie in the hand. Yveltal comes down. Going to want that. It's a little bit... I don't know if it... Is it a little risky to put it in play right now, though? Because now your opponent can kind of go chase it. Which you don't want to really give them the option of. They do play a Vacuum. Luminion's coming in play here. I thought there was 2 Archie... What are we Luminioning for? Are we bossing? This is actually curious to me. Goes for a research. Isn't there a Marnie in hand? Am I trolling? Maybe they're going to attack with the Luminion and send it back to the bottom of the deck. V-Star power happening. That could be the play. The problem with this play, though, I swear they had a Marnie in hand. I don't know if I like this. Should have benched Stoutland last year. Well, Stoutland's not good into the first Meloetta. It's good into the second Meloetta. If you do Stoutland into the first Meloetta... Yeah, if you Stoutland the first Meloetta, then you still need to go Gust, which, well, it can be hard to pull that off because theoretically the Mew player can go Roxanne Path. Most Meloetta builds do play 1 Roxanne, 1 Path, from what I can remember, but it prevents the second one from working. Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you give them another 2-prizer, they still win the trade. Because then if Brent goes KO Lugia, KO Stoutland, Horn, they just win. Or if you have another 2-prizer in play, they just win. You definitely don't want to give them the Stoutland. Because theoretically, I think on average, it won't affect your prize trade. You should Stoutland the second one, though. Because if you actually want to Stoutland the second one, because then you don't have to Gust. If they go Meloetta, if Brent goes Meloetta, you go, okay, knockout. And then Brent goes Meloetta, then you go Stoutland, KO Meloetta, and then they have to attack with Mew VMAX, and you go KO Mew VMAX, win. But if they don't, but if you Stoutland the first Meloetta, they don't have to put the second Meloetta in play. And I think then it just advantages Brent overall. You don't want to be aggressive with Stoutland, but it is just a cool option to answer the second Meloetta. But this play, actually, I think here is really bad from the Lugia player. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get the KO on the Meloetta, but you have 0 energy in play, and then Brent can just go Gust. Yeah, this is actually a really bad play. Potentially. They still have access to 1 Archeops, so they can still Archeops to the Lugia. And there's the Marnie. This is so confusing to me. I don't know. It's not that... Well... What are you setting up after you attack with the Luminion? What if you had just like... I don't know, this is weird. This is just weird. Like, you could have just attacked with Lugia, which I think would have been fine to just attack with Lugia here. You don't have your V-Guard energy, which kind of sucks, but you could have just attacked with Lugia here. Brent's already down 2 power tablets, so the chance of them getting 1 hit KO on the Lugia is, like, not super high, right? They would need double tablet. Like, 2 power tablet plus Choice Bout. So here comes the Luminion knockout, but they definitely need to use the second Archeops here and load up the Lugia. Or loading up Yveltal feels pretty weird. I would probably load up the Lugia. Here comes a quick ball. They're probably going to grab some chump to take the hit here. But Brent still also... This also like constantly leaves a bench space open. So Brent can Echoing Horn this turn on something. So there's the Manaphy. That's going to be the chump. Here comes... They are using the second Archeops at the very least. But Gust KO Archeops I think is still a pretty good play here from Brent. Yeah, Gust KO Archeops is still pretty good here from Brent. That would be what I imagine their play is here. Couple energy on a Lug. But they could also go with, actually, Brent from here could actually go Horn, Gust into one-hit KO Lugia. We might see that from Brent, actually. Brent can go Horn, Gust, knockout, the Lugia V that was put in the discard pile. Actually, I don't know if there was another 2-prize in the discard pile before that Lugia V hit the discard pile. So that might have been a pretty big misplay there from the Lugia player. That actually might have been a pretty big misplay from the Lugia player there. We'll see how this plays out. But it's possible Brent can now just go Horn, Gust, KO Lugia V. That would be tough from Brent because there's 2 tablets gone. Yeah, that was the first 2-prizer in the loss zone. That's actually a huge misplay from the Lugia player. This because the other Pokemon in the discard pile were actually just 1-prize Pokemon. Yeah, this quick ball discard was really bad. They should have discarded like literally anything else. That was like a really big mistake. And you can see them shaking their head. They know they messed up. All right, Choice Bell on the active. I don't even know if the Force Seal Stone has been used yet from Brent, to be honest. Brent might just be cooking here. Oh, the Serena Gust. Technoblast for the knockouts coming in. Now, Brent only has 2 tablets left and only plays 1 Choice Belt, though. So Brent next turn would have to hit a Silene Heads, one of 2, to recover a Choice Belt or tablet, and a Catcher Heads to actually KO the Lugia V-Star off the bench. So this turn from a Lugia player, Lugia can just go Yveltal, one-hit KO the active, and then hope that Brent doesn't have that combo on the next turn. And then they would ideally, I mean, Marnie versus not Marnie probably doesn't matter too much, to be honest. So you just get the KO and fill up your bench so you don't get Silene Horned, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I guess fill up your bench as well so you don't get Silene Horned. Like Silene for Horn, Catcher Heads. Probably the way to go here. And there's the knockout. Let's go to the loss zone. Oh, wait. There's no 2-prize in the discard pile anymore because it did go to the loss zone. So you don't have to fill your bench here, actually, as a Lugia player. But you might want to. You actually don't have to because, yeah, the velocity helps out. Yeah, Brent notices everything, man. Brent notices literally everything. Brent's like, nope, you already attached. Nope, goes to the loss zone. I like Brent. Brent's on point. Uh-oh. They seemed to not like what was happening in there. Do they not have the energy for the bird here? That would be bad. Okay, second one happening. Do they not have enough Auroras to actually take the knockout? 1 Aurora. Okay, so, I mean, they put it there, so this means I assume they have an Aurora in hand, so it's not too bad. Okay, all right. I thought it was, like, to the point where they whiffed the attack. I mean, looks pretty good to me. Get rid of the Irida here, I think. Yeah, there's just the knockout. Goes to the lost zone. Did not catch that one. They didn't catch that one, it looks like. Or did they? Am I trolling? They maybe did. All right. So for Brent to win this turn, like I said, Brent needs Silene Heads to recover. Silene Heads to recover a tablet, and then a Catcher Heads to gust up the Lugia. So this one's still pretty close. It's hard to tell how many cards Brent has left in deck. Force Seal Stone first is interesting. I think maybe doesn't know what play they're going for here, and is just checking what is available. But I believe they did grab the Silene, so I think they're on the same train of thought as I am here. They could also knock out the active and hope Lugia doesn't have a Gust, but that's not a very good bet. It's a pretty bad bet, to be honest. Let's see. Was that double heads? I think it was double heads. That's where all of Xander Perot's Silene Heads have been going. They've been going to Brent. That's the, I think there's a better word for it. That's balance right there, though. Oh, just 1 head, so I think. Just the tablet. Okay. Lugia playing V-Guard? Yeah, they lost it on the first Lugia, though. Oh, 2 catchers in hand? We're cooking! Tablet. Tablet. All right, this is looking pretty good for Brent. I don't know. Going back and forth here. Switching, retreating. Oh, wait a second. Oh. Wait, what? Oh, their second Mew VMAX is prize. I didn't even think about that. They only play 2 Mew VMAX. So now over to... yeah, so they literally can't win. Oh, their last Mew VMAX is prize. I didn't even see that as a win condition or something that they needed. That's unfortunate. Last prize card was a Mew. Well, Mew VX in the last 2 prize cards. And they prized a Meloetta early, which means they weren't able to go Meloetta either. Huh. There's not too much they could have done there, to be honest. There's not too much they could have done there. That's kind of unfortunate prizes, right? Like, sometimes like you prize a VMAX like that, and you're like, okay, if I draw it in like my first 4, I should be fine. How many catchers do they play? They play 3 catchers. So yeah, that's just kind of prize. They didn't even have a chance to go, oh my gosh, what are these prize cards? Opens double Genesect, thankfully. Mew double VMAX Genesect prize. Okay, so this isn't terrible because they have the Meloettas. So you just got to open up with the Meloetta. Why didn't you put the VMAX back with Silene? It got lost zoned. Yeah, it did get lost zoned from the Lost City. And even if they had, though, they still would have lost, though. Even if they had put the VMAX back, they still would have lost because they didn't have enough modifiers. They didn't have enough modifiers to actually buff it. They would have had to have not had the Lost City in play and then get double heads on Silene. Okay, so Brent, thankfully, like I said, thankfully has Meloettas. Ooh, Quick Ball on a double turbo. Does play 3 of them. Not something you want to be double turboing. Actually, they don't have any more. No, they have another Meloetta they can grab here. All right. If Brent didn't check before, the full realization of what's happening is coming to is realizing. They're realizing that. And pass. Okay. A little bit of an awkward board state, but Lugia's in the active as well here, which is actually really good for Brent because like getting that initial 2 prize knockout will be nice on that Lugia. So the Lugia being the active is actually a pretty big deal here. For Brent. So you like to see that for Brent at the very least. Even if with these kind of prize cards, you like to see the Lugia V being in the active. So you don't have to work too hard on Brent's turn. Can hopefully just put an Elsa Sparkle together, get this first 2 prize knockout. And like I said, probably you want to set up both Meloettas to have that option of using the second Meloetta to knock out something like an Archeops or a Yveltal or something like that. Chase down some kind of 1 prize. And for our Lugia player, it's looking like they're having almost the exact same start as the last time. Their Yveltal is prized. Ooh, and has to burn a powerful here, actually. This powerful burn doesn't matter as much because Brent doesn't play Oricorio, so you don't need like a quad powerful plus choice belt potential knockout. The triple powerful works just fine. All right, Sparkle off the rip here for Brent. And you'd like to see the quad fusion if possible. Throws a double turbo. How much damage is that one doing now? Okay, I don't mind the... I don't know if I like that from Brent. Only has 1 double turbo left. Actually, I really don't like that from Brent. I don't know if it was possible to get the other fusion energy. It's definitely in the deck. I would like to have seen Brent try and dig for the other fusion energy, I think, for sure. Because this means that Brent only has 1 attacker. Can only attack with 1 Mew VMAX. Right? There's 1 fusion and 1 double turbo left. Because one's... Well, you could theoretically Silene... You could theoretically Silene a double turbo, but you probably want to save the Silenes for modifiers to make sure you can get through the Lugias, especially because you know that they play V-Guard energy. So hella powerfuls in the hand, it looks like. And a Luminion. Luminion's probably going to be the attacker this turn and then run to Guru. Luminion probably for research, we'll see. Luckily for Brent. I don't know if I would call that lucky. I think that's just reasonable. It's like, Brent, as long as you can draw some prize cards, you'll get a Mew VMAX. I think that's reasonable when you prize all your Mew VMAX. Yeah, I don't know if I'd say lucky. I think that's just reasonable. All right, Luminion's coming down. So from Lugia here, I think we want to see... They're going for Aerodactyl, which is weird. That's weird too. There's no way that's the right supporter take. There's got to be something better than Aerodactyl here. You don't want to research... The Aerodactyl. Ooh, they got the big charm. So they're getting... Okay, they want to... Maybe the prioritizing the big charm actually might be correct there. I don't hate the prioritization of the big charm, to be honest. That means you can't choice belt, though. Which is weird. Now you can't choice belt your Lugia. So now your Lugia can't threaten a KO on a Mew VMAX. So to the Luminion. 2 more coming out here. I'd assume... Ooh, interesting. I would assume we'd see... Oh, the second double turbo is prized, actually. I was going to say, I assume we'd see the double turbo. Why not the V-Guard on the active here, though? Yeah, why not? They are playing the V-Guard, right? Yeah, why not put the V-Guard on the Lugia and then attach out a hand? Well, then you'd lose a powerful, I guess. Big charm. See, this is actually the weird situation for the Lugia player, though, which I don't really love this line that they took, again, by attacking with Luminion instead of maybe just attacking with Lugia there when it has a big charm and a V-Guard? That's hard to deal with. Why not just attack with the Lugia there? With a V-Guard and a Big Charm? I guess you get to put you won't get to put your Luminian back in the deck, though. Luminian got the Big Charm. But see, this is weird now, because now Brent can just go Gust KO Archeops. And that's what Brent's probably going to do here, is Gust KO Archeops. And Brent can do it with the Meloetta, or can do it with a Mew. I think it's a good time to do it with the Meloetta, though, to be honest. Because then you don't risk the Meloetta getting KO'd by Stoutland with a bunch of powerfuls. So I think I would like to see Brent go Meloetta, KO, Chops. And then the Parasol on a Mew, actually, I don't even really like that too much. Because if you KO an Archeops here as Brent, then the threat of Yveltal is basically gone almost entirely. So you want to keep open the option of Choice Belts on your Mews at that point, I feel like. But with the Big Charm on the Lugia as well, maybe hitting with a Mew isn't terrible instead of the Meloetta, because the threat of the Choice Belt is basically non-existent. Now, they do play a Vacuum and a Choice Belt, so it's possible the Lugia player could get like Vacuum plus Choice Belt, but that's a pretty tall order. And they'd also have to get... I mean, getting the 2 powerful energy would be easy because you only need 1 Archeops in play to do that. But yeah, Tablet plus KO the Archeops here is fine. Lugia VMAX plus KO. There's an Echoing Horn. Ooh, there's Lugia V to grab. Okay. I don't know if I love grabbing it that aggressively though, because the problem with that is now it has time to evolve, which means you're never gonna one hit KO back to back Lugia V stars, unless Brent is just gonna go for. Now Brent could go for this actually. That's true. Brent could go Gust KO Lugia V and then one hit KO Lugia V star afterwards. The problem with that, I think, for Brent becomes that Brent would have to silent to recover an energy to be able to attack with a follow up Mew though, which would be pretty tough. Because yeah, Brent only has 1 double turbo left, so that's if this Mew gets knocked out. But I guess it's possible this Mew doesn't get knocked out this turn because the Yveltal is prized. But if you go for this route, then this route is weird. It's weird to not Parasol, to not evolve the other Mew as Brent. This is like a mistake here from Brent because you're leaving it open to get... You're leaving this active Mew, the Mew you're attacking with, you're leaving it open for this Mew to actually get KO'd by Yveltal when it could have had the Parasol. So this actually makes like this Parasol choice here. And I think Brent could have actually evolved the bench. I think both these were evolvable. Yeah, they were. So Brent could just evolve the bench one and attach to it once they realized the play was kind of coming together. So definitely a pretty big mistake there from Brent, actually. That's like a pretty big mistake. Of course, yeah, doesn't know, unless the Lugia player just told Brent, yeah, my Yveltal is prized. I'm like, oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know that. And then maybe this decision makes a little bit more sense. So it's going to be on the Lugia player to get through this Mew at this point now. 5 prizes left, so it's going to be tough. Other Mew prize again. Yeah, the other Mew is prized. Can't evolve both Mew? No, I'm pretty sure they can evolve both Mew. They benched them both turn 1. Oh, you're saying they can't evolve both of them. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they only have 1 Mew VMAX available. Yeah, but they should have evolved. They're both evolvable. Like, both can become evolved. They could have chosen which one to evolve. All right, so with no Yveltal available here, yeah, that Big Charm just feels weird now. Like, the Big Charm just feels out of place. Like, going for the Luminian play, now with the Big Charm. The Horn play happened from Brent, which felt okay, I guess. Like, KO and Archeops there still felt pretty good to me, to be honest, especially with the Big Charm on the Lugia. For the Lugia player now, to be honest, the only line of play I see that can win them this game is literally, well, because, I mean, Brent misplayed, so a line of play that could have existed would have been the Yveltal play, but that's not an option now, obviously. The only play I see is Vacuum Choice Belt this turn from... Yeah, they have to, like, dig for Vacuum plus Choice Belt. So I think they should just, like, fully load up this active Lugia and then try and draw into Vacuum plus Choice Belt. That's, like, the only play I see. The Big Charm to begin with here was pretty bad, though, I think. I think they should have just attacked with Lugia with a V-Guard. The turn they attacked with Luminian, I'm pretty sure they should have just attacked with Lugia V-Guard. Like, the Luminian play is just so awkward. It opens up so many lines of play from Brent. To take advantage of. Also, you don't have an option for a 1-hit KO on a Mew VMAX because you know your Yveltal is prized. So unless you feel like the only way you win the game is if you do the Luminium play and if you hit your Yveltal out of your prize cards and you're one of 6, then the Big Charm play makes sense. But I think what they should have done is just like punch with Lugia with a V-Guard and then hope the 1-hit KO response doesn't happen. Which is like reasonable for it to not happen, to be honest, I think, in that situation. But yeah, the situation they're in now does not feel great. All right, there's a research. See what they get. Another possible for Brent. I don't think Brent's played any catchers yet. Another possibility for Brent is Echoing Horn, Sidling for Echoing Horn plus catcher. So the Lugia player should probably try and fill their bench to play around that. Did they just concede? Well, I guess if they whiff that vacuum plus choice ball play, maybe it is correct to concede. Oh, they'd have a game 3. I thought they conceded the whole match. I was like, I thought they lost game 1. I was like, why do you ever concede there? Did you? They didn't. I was like, but they didn't lose game 1. Okay. All right. I'm fine with it. I think I'm fine with that concession there. If you whiff the vacuum plus choice ball, which it looks like is the play they were going for. Oh, they played Drapion. What? Wait. Did they forget they played Drapion? Wait, hold on. I forgot they played Drapion, but I feel like they forgot they played Drapion. Wait, what? Was it prized? It's not even prized. What? No shot. Oh my gosh. All right. That completely... Yeah, all right. I forgot they played Drapion. But them forgetting they played Drapion is worse than me forgetting they played Drapion. They had to have forgotten now. And now it's prize. Now they're getting punished for forgetting that they played Drapion. Okay, so now we might be able to see the power of... Ooh, okay, Brent finally with not terrible prizes. Although quick balls are pretty good. But the Guru start for the Lugia player, of course, to help play around the turn. Oh my, is that a Sparkle and a Fusion in the opening hand, though, for Brent? I think it is. See, and even this like early little prize exchange between Meloetta for a 1 prize knockout is like a pretty big deal as well. So that's why it feels like the Meloetta build. The Meloetta build, I'm not going to lie, though, the Meloetta build, like, Mew is already like pretty on the ropes against most Lost Box builds. The Meloetta build gets destroyed by almost every Lost Box build. Meloetta Mew like gets absolutely just decimated, I feel like, by almost every single Lost Box build. Like the quad DTE path shenanigans control lock kind of build is like whatever, but yeah, the other build is decimation. Powerful energy. Second Lugia. Okay, there it is. I was like, is there a second Lugia? There better be a second Lugia here. Better be. Mini and Ultra Ball. There's the pass. Okay, how good of a hand. Dude, it's there. Oh my gosh. Brent is cooking. Already has it all. So I'm curious to see, will Brent go ahead and grab second Meloetta off the rip here? Or not? That's what I'm curious about here. Second Meloetta is, like I said, I think it's interesting. I think it opens up some cool lines of play. But no, doesn't go for the second Meloetta. Did have it available as well off that quick ball. Now it's looking for a catcher or an escape rope. Another Genesect, so we're still cooking here for Brent. Another draw off another Genesect. Another quick ball. You know what that means. Another Genesect. And then another draw off another Genesect. Oh, the head's on the Chromatic. Where's the escape rope? You know it's coming. Brent's cooking. There's the rope. Okay, rope up a Lugia. 6 minutes left. I think plenty of time for both players to still potentially pull a victory here. Another thing you can kind of play off a little bit here as Brent, as a Lugia player. Ooh, no space for a second Lugia, though. This is a risky play from Brent to actually bench that other Genesect instead of Ultra Balling for another Lugia here. The Lugia player now can go Boss KO Mew and trap them out of Mew for the rest of the game. That's a little bit of a risky play there, to be honest, from Brent. That one I don't like. I don't like that. Should have gone Ultra Ball away the Genesect plus something else and grab a second Mew. I don't like that play. And we'll see if there's a punish here or not. See how good the draw is for our Lugia player. They're not playing very fast, so I don't know how good it is. I got the V-Star. I don't know if there's any chops in the discard pile. People in the discard pile. But yeah, Gus KO on the Mew is pretty good here. It's pretty good. That's where the Big Charm could be really good as well. There's a Luminion in hand, so we're still cooking. I appreciate that Prime sub there, Kipler. Welcome to the Rat Pack. Goes for the Serena on the Mew. I don't like the Serena use here, though, actually. I think that's actually a mistake here. They probably should go with Boss. You almost never use Boss in this matchup. So Serena's like a potential draw supporter top deck. Ooh, but at the expense of solo chops, I actually don't know if this is correct, to be honest. I don't know if this is... Oh, no, but they have the Drapion. But the Drapion's prize. But you're going to get 3 prize cards before you would need Drapion. But this does open up a play for Brent to now go Gust KO chops. We'll see what Brent does. So on the next turn, Brent wants to go, like... Yeah, Gust KO chops here. Another play Brent could have done, actually, that I think was maybe a mistake from Brent. Brent probably shouldn't have put this Fusion Energy on the Mew, because it makes Mew too big of a target. It would have been hard for Brent to call that they would have whiffed the second, but Brent didn't whiff the second Mew. No, you know what? It's correct for Brent to have put the Fusion Energy on the Mew. It was just incorrect for Brent to not bench a second Mew. It was correct for the Fusion Energy to be on the Mew. That's fine. It's just incorrect for Brent to have not benched on the Mew. Quad powers on the Lugia does not get the Drapion. I don't know if they checked if Drapion was prized or not. So now a play from Brent can be bench Mew and then Gust KO chops. And you want to put the Fusion Energy on a Genesect this time because you can't even load up 2 on a Mew anymore. So Quick Ball's an Ultra Ball. So the play here from Brent definitely wants to be, I think, Gust KO Archeops, and then you try and one-hit KO the Lugia on the next turn and remove all the attackers from play. So heads needs the Fusion Energy, but could get a tablet. Goes for the Fusion Energy, though. Could get a tablet, but goes for the Fusion Energy. You could also put the third Fusion Energy on the Meloetta, actually. And actually, the Fusion Energy is probably best on Meloetta here, actually. I'm like, no, don't put it on the Mew. Wait, no, actually, it's not terrible on the Mew. It's not terrible on the Mew, because you could Silene for a few. No, it is terrible on the Mew. I take it back. It's terrible on the Mew. I take it back. It's terrible on the Mew. That's awful on the Mew. You should. That's actually this is awful. This is so let's break this down. So because you put it on the Mew, even if Brent gets the Gust KO on the Archeops here, which I don't even know if Brent's gonna go for that, to be honest. Brent might just go for the Luminion KO. But even if Brent goes for that, the Lugia player could still go once again Gust KO Mew. And then that means Brent's Meloetta damage is limited once again to 140 damage. But if Brent puts the Fusion Energy on a Genesect and the Lugia player KOs the Genesect instead, well, then all of a sudden your Mew can become a Mew VMAX and get a double Turbo Energy and do 200 or 190 damage with Technoblast. So you make sure you have access to some higher amount of damage when you don't put the Fusion Energy on the Mew. So the Fusion Energy on the Mew is just actually terrible. It should always go on a Genesect here, 100%. And then, yeah, I don't know about, to be honest, though, Brent going Gust KO Luminion, I think, might be fine. Which is actually, I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction. I think that's what Brent's going to go for. I think Brent's going to go Gust KO Luminion here, but we'll see. Yep. All right, there's the Gust on Luminion. Yeah, the Fusion Energy should not be on the Mew here. Because now our Lugia player could respond with, okay, Gust KO Mew. But we got this, another 2-prize knockout here for Brent. And then it's just an Echoing Horn plus a Gust away. Now, the Luminion will go to the Lost Zone. But there is a Lugia V in the discard pile here. So the question will kind of become here, I think, for the Lugia player, you kind of have to play like they have the Horn play, and they have Quad Genesect, like they're going to get it. I think they still have their V-Star power. They maybe just used it there. 30 seconds of time left. So I think as a Lugia player here, your game plan has to be... and I like that as well. I don't know how much I care about that, to be honest. They did get rid of their own Lost City to stop the Lost Zoning of Luminion. I guess that's probably correct because it's easier to KO Luminion than it is to KO a Lugia V, even though there's a Lugia V in the discard pile still. All right, Lugia player draws. Okay, so Lugia player should be turn 0 here. And that actually means based on the prize exchange, Brent should actually never lose this game because Lugia player has 4 prize cards left, is guaranteed to draw at least 1 prize card this turn. They'll go down to 3 prize cards. Now, if Brent can't win the game on their turn, they can just never evolve to a Mew VMAX. Pass back to the Lugia player. Lugia player can take a 2-prize knockout, go to 1 prize, have 0 turns left. Brent plays out their last turn, and the Lugia player never wins. So Brent doesn't have to like evolve, go for like the all-in to win the game for 2 turns. Brent can kind of just like burn their next turn to set up for their final turn to get 2 prize cards. So Lugia can never win here. They can only ever hope for a tie, unless Brent messes up. Brent could mess up. So this turn, what I would like to see is 3. I think you have to hope that Brent. So because you have to hope that Brent. Oh, that's true. The Lugia player could gust this turn. Okay, the reason why gusting this turn is not good though. The reason why gusting this turn is not turn because if you gust this turn, I think you pretty much always lose. If you gust this turn, I think you're always going to lose the game because if you gust this turn, Brent is 100% going to have the Echoing Horn play next turn. So I think gusting here is actually always just bad. Because you always are going to lose the Echoing Horn. Unless you at that point, I guess your win condition could become Hope Echoing Horn is in the last 2 prize cards. So I guess that could be a win condition. Because my thought process was the Lugia player has to play a draw supporter this turn to fill up their bench with like Dunsparce, Manaphy, Charizard, Yveltal, Raikou, shenanigans to prevent the Echoing Horn. That was my thought process. You could hope they just can't get the Echoing Horn play, but they're almost guaranteed the Echoing Horn play. And actually, we see the Aerodactyl get Manaphy plus Quick Ball, so I think they might be able to fill up their bench here. And the capture. Okay, we got it. Now actually put a V-Guard on our active, and we're chilling. It's possible. But Brent can still go for the one-hit KO. Now there's no Gust on the Mew V, so now we can see just Mew VMAX one-hit KO the active. And I think there is plenty of tablets left, so. But they will have to get through the V-Guard energy, though, actually, so. They will have to get through the V-Guard energy. Quick Ball for Zard. Bench the Manaphy. That Big Charm would be kind of... No, the Big Charm would be kind of mid here, actually. I was going to say, could be kind of clutch, but it'd actually be pretty mid. So another thing we can see from Brent this turn is Brent could actually Psychic Leap for a little bit of damage with a double turbo on this Mew, and then the next Mew could clean it up on the next turn. So once again, Brent doesn't have to win the game this turn or even attempt to win this turn. Brent can just, like, chill, theoretically. As long as there's another Mew V left. There's the VMAX. Oh, there's no Mew V left. Oh, boy. Actually, it could be in the hand. Could be in the hand. Hold up. We're not done yet. Turn 1 for Brent. Yeah, so Brent doesn't have to win this turn, though. Brent could actually chill, theoretically. Juice, Mew, okay. Active setup, Lost City. Double Power Tablet. They are drawing their whole deck, though, so I believe if it's in the deck, they'll just win. Mew VMAX, okay. They do need... Oh, wait a second. Have they messed up? Possibly. Heads? I think they were going to draw the whole deck anyway, so I don't think this, like, cram heads makes too big of a difference. Has Brent potentially overextended here? It's possible. Played 2 tablets. All right, Silene's happening. Double Tails? I think Brent did overextend here. See, I think Brent could have done all this, but not evolve to the VMAX. Brent could have done all of these things that they just did, but just not evolve to VMAX, and then just Psychic Leap for minus 50, so it'd be 20 damage. Plus the 2 tablets, 80 damage. Ultra Ball. Yeah, I don't think Brent has a win condition this turn. But once again, they can just Psychic Leap back to the deck. And then they can't lose. If the Lugia player still has their choice belt, they can win. I don't know if it's in the discard pile. It possibly is. Yeah, I don't think Brent was ever cooking, though. Yeah, they have to leap back now. And they won't lose if they leap back. But you don't want to go back to the deck is the thing, though. So you want to, like, use Psychic Leap, but keep Pokemon in the active. You just want to keep the Mew V as itself in the active. All right, Psychic Leap back to the deck. So yeah, Lugia player can't win. But as long as they have Gust KO on Mew V, it will be a tie. So Lugia is looking for Gust KO on the Mew V here. If they have that, it's impossible for Brent to win. And the Lugia player would have won if they had +1 turn to play the game, but unfortunately they don't. Do they have the Gust, though, is the question. If they don't have the Gust, I think probably to be safe, you retreat your Lugia. Yeah. And just knock out with Charizard. Yeah, you probably should retreat your Lugia, take the knockout with Charizard, just to be safe. Man, they had the Drapion this whole time, and they didn't use it at all. There's no way the Drapion couldn't have been used last game, though. That's what kind of blows my mind. They had to have forgotten their Drapion in game 2. I refuse to believe that they didn't forget their Drapion in game 2. There's just no way. All right, it is going to be that play. They're going to run to the Charizard. Charizard knockout. Should go to the Lost Zone. Not a big deal one way or the other. Yeah, turn 3 for Brent. Wasn't able to get the Gust on the Mew VMAX. I don't know if there's enough. Oh, wait. Maybe. Tails. Another one. No, 4 tails in a row for Brent. Okay, that's a little bit unlucky. That feels bad. 4 tails in a row. Tablet. Genesect for the whole deck. I don't think there's a Gust effect left here, though. That was it. It was coming down to one of those. That's a tie. All right. Tie in the end. Yeah, that definitely felt weird. It was close. I mean, the Lugia player was going to win, I think, if they had one more turn. But I feel like they definitely threw game 2. I feel like they threw game 2. So, I mean, that's kind of, yeah. They maybe should have scooped game 2 sooner. But they had Drapion. I don't know. They had Drapion. I feel like they had Drapion.